Remember I bet it?
I ain't saying, man, I'm just saying.
Steel mag.
Welcome back to Just a Few Reviews. I am Johnny Phoenix, and with me as always is my partner, Big Joe. And behind the camera we have the guy who slices, dices, and puts in all those special spices for these videos, Mr. Chris Confucius himself, our very own. We are back out in the desert, and we are having some fun today. What do we got going on today, Big Joe?
Well, we got a showdown between the Ruger 5.7 and the FN 5.7. And we're going to be shooting both to do a comparison on the two, see what we like better. We know the Ruger is more budget friendly. It's about half the price of the FN. What are you excited about?
I'm excited about getting a chance to shoot both those guns. We all know that the FN 5.7 has been around for a while, and it's basically been the king of the market because it was the only thing on the market with the chambered FN 5 or 5.7 rounds, 5.7 millimeter rounds. So given that as the fact, the ammo has been very expensive, and that's one of the prohibitive things that stops people from getting into the FN 5.7. But at the same time, if Ruger, who came out with a very, very budget-friendly, as Joe said, 5.7 pistol, if that gun can gain some traction in the market, we hope to see other manufacturers come around, introduce guns of the same caliber, and eventually drive down the price, the cost of an FN 5.7 round, or the 5.7 round. Right now, the only two manufacturers I know of that are producing 5.7 rounds are American Eagle and then FN themselves. And they're pretty expensive, even for the cheap plinker stuff. We call it cheap plinker, but the non-self-defense rounds, they're $1 a piece, aren't they?
Yep. No, they're not $1, but they're $30 for about 50 rounds, which is high for ammo, especially if you shoot a lot of 9mm.
Yeah, that's more than I want to spend.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna head out right now and do some shooting, and we'll be back with you as soon as we are done.
We got the 5.7, not from FN, but from Ruger.
Hey folks, we're doing a quick little battle between the FN 5.7 and then the Ruger 57. Joe just fired off a few rounds on the Ruger 57. I'm going to do the same with the FN 5.7. We'll do the opposite and compare one against the other. Clear. Pretty nice, as always. It's the FN 5.7.
Couldn't decide on one or the other, so I gotta try both. FN 5.7, Ruger 5.7. Do it. Not bad.
All right, folks, time to give the Ruger 57 a ride. Going hot. Clear. That was nice. Very nice, smooth shooting, quick reset.
Here's the FN 5.7. I just shot the Ruger. Now I want to shoot the FN so I can get a good comparison between the two. Grip than the Ruger. Both shot good. I just feel like the Ruger was just a little bit of a softer feel as I'm firing it.
All right, so Dual wielding's fun, but I did have a little hiccup on there. I'm not sure what it was. We checked the primer. It didn't fire, so I think it maybe just failed to seat the round all the way. So I want to make it right. I want to try a full magazine this time and see how I like this bad boy. So Ruger 5.7 fully loaded mag. Man, 20 rounds goes way too fast on this thing. Gotta say, I love that recoil, or lack thereof, I should say. Pretty sweet.
5.7s akimbo style. Clear.
Well, that sucked. My dumbass got to put my fucking earmuffs on. The more I shoot it, the more I like the grip on the Ruger a lot better than the FN. It's a lot better ergonomic than the FN. FN felt kind of wide. This one it feels a lot better in the hand.
Clear.
Alright, Ruger 5.7, let's do it up.
Yep. All right, guys, we're back from shooting. We did shoot about 200 rounds, about 100 in each. John, what'd you think about it?
I'll tell you the truth. You know, I didn't think that the Ruger was going to do as well as I thought. I'm a big fan of the old FN 5.7. It's been around, this iconic gun. It's one of those cool tactical guns that everybody wants, and I thought that Ruger might not have done a good enough job at capturing that. But after looking at the gun in my hand, feeling it, shooting it, I got to tell you, man, I think they got a winner. You know, the grip frame is slim. It's a lot slimmer in my hands, and I wear large size gloves, and I can get around the Ruger 57 a whole lot easier than I can the FN 5.7. And the angle of the grip in the back, it feels a little bit like a 1911 beaver tail. Not exactly, it's more exaggerated than the FN 5.7. And all of that makes for a much better shooting angle. I get a much higher grip on the gun, and I shot it better than I did the FN 5.7. And given the fact that it's going to MSRP at about $799, I don't know that you can beat that when you compare it to the FN 5.7, which is running about $1,200 to $1,300. And you know, big shout out to Byron, Iron Byron, for and MMP Guns for grabbing us that Ruger 5.7. It's a hot item on the market right now, very difficult to get a hold of. And
super hard to find right now. They got tons of pre-orders of that gun right now. Everybody wants that Ruger 5.7 at that $599 price range. I got small hands too, and the FN it's I know what you mean when you got that wide angle on that gun, which really is the reason why I like shooting that Ruger, because it felt more ergonomic, like you said. It felt like it was easier to use than the actual FN. Both guns, they feel like they're in the same quality range, but you're just getting two completely different prices.
And give it up for Ruger. You know, they usually overbuild their guns, so I expected a clunkier, heavier version of an FN 5.7. But when you feel the two in hand, and we don't have the specs for it in front of us, you can always look that up, it's easy to find. But when you have the two guns in hand, they feel, I mean, other than the actual grip itself, it's hard to tell a difference because they have the same basic profiles. I mean, Ruger did a really good job of keeping the weight down, and with the FN 5.7 or the 5.7 millimeter round itself, it's a very light shooting, straight shooting round, and the long sight radius on both those guns make it very accurate. I had a great time shooting it. I honestly didn't think we were going to see one until we hit SHOT Show.
No, it's a big shout out to MMP Guns. Speaking of SHOT Show, are you ready for SHOT Show?
I am ready for SHOT Show.
Keep in mind, guys, we got the Kickin' Brass podcast. We're doing a live podcast during SHOT Show. So make sure you go to that channel and you subscribe and look forward to it.
That's Kickin' Brass podcast. And if you haven't subscribed already, then you're in big trouble. No, we're going to be there doing our very best to bring you the latest and greatest. SHOT Show 2020 is the biggest SHOT Show up to date. And if you're a gun guy or gun gal, you know how big that show is. Everybody who's anybody in the gun industry will be there. There'll be some YouTube personalities. There'll be people that are manufacturers bringing out their latest and greatest wares. So we hope to be able to bring you some detailed looks at guns that are coming out in 2020.
Also, FN, Ruger 5.7s in town. You guys, you got to watch out for them.
You know what? I cannot argue with that. If I'm FN, I'd be taking a look at lowering that price because you've got a hot to trot competitor that's coming in at $7.99 versus your $12.99, and it does everything the FN does except for capture the FN name. So shout out to Ruger, great job, and of course all the fellas out there in Prescott, Arizona. You know, we're Arizona boys, so we got to give you a thumbs up for being a great Arizona presence.
Subscribe to our channel. Give us a thumbs up. Tell us what you think. Anything else, John?
Until next time, fellas, we are deuces.
Don't forget how cute John looks in that pink chair, by the way. See you guys.